MEGAHOME team, Fabian and expectant wife NatalieYES, says Chris Roycroft-DavisTHAT. Great old football manager Bill Shankly once said laconically, "Some people believe football is a matter of life and death. I can assure you, it is much more important than that," but that was what seems like an age ago, when society held clear views of the very different roles that should be played by men and women. Men were cold and unemotional, went to work and drank in the pub. Women were warm and caring, stayed at home and had babies. Today we have a more enlightened view, thank goodness, and as the gender roles have become blurred, the emphasis has moved to being part of a team, sharing burdens, sharing joys, facing life together. FIFA Getty. Fabian Delph challenged by Moussa Dembele when the Three Lions faced Belgium. If he'd stayed on in Russia he would have missed a great experience which could never be recreated. However, there'll be another World Cup, if he's lucky. Chris Roycroft-Davis. And so it can only be right that Fabian Delph has flown back from his World Cup duties to be at his wife's side as she prepares to give birth. There are plenty of other players in the squad who can easily take his place. But from Natalie Delph's point of view, no one can replace the man she loves as she goes into labor. When childbirth is a shared experience, it fosters a powerful link between man and woman, and man and child. I was present at the birth of all three of our children and wouldn't have missed it for the world. Not just for the overwhelming emotional rush of seeing new lives beginning, lives created by my wife and I, but also because of the wonderful satisfaction of achieving something marvelous together. Together is the important word which those who criticize Fabian should bear in mind. Parenthood takes to at every stage from the moment of birth onwards. If he'd stayed on in Russia he would have missed a great experience which could never be recreated. However, there'll be another World Cup, if he's lucky. But maybe not another birth, as he already has two daughters, Sophia and Alia, whom he readily admits he allows to paint his fingernails pink and put angel wings on his head. We've already seen what a fabulous family man Fabian is. When his club Manchester City celebrated winning the Premier League title in April, there he was, on all fours on the pitch with one of the girls on his back. There was a time when a footballer would have been called a sissy for that kind of behavior. Today it's a sign of maturity, an indication that a man who earns his living in a but physical way can also be in touch with a gentler side of his nature. A man who can publicly love his child is a man who is clearly at ease with who he is and what his role is in life. See, good on you, Fabian. And well done England boss Gareth Southgate for understanding that the birth of a child is a totally valid reason for flying home from the World Cup. Football has in fact enhanced its reputation this week, not diminished its manliness. No, says Jan Etherington. Come on, Fabian, what's more important, football or your forthcoming baby? Okay, let me put it another way. It's your third, for heaven's sake. If it was your first, maybe we could understand. But your third, surely Natalie's got it sorted by now. She's a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. She's used to making her own decisions. Shall I push? Should be a doddle. Chances are the baby will pop out while she's checking the share prices and she'll barely notice. Fabian, is it really worth missing World Cup glory for a beaker of NHS tea and a 5-minute cuddle? A word of advice, Natalie. To paraphrase Elsa from Frozen, let him go, and get your mum, or your best friend in as a birth partner, because the truth is almost anything is preferable to having a husband at your side. Frankly, they're usually more hindrance than help. When I had my first baby, my husband leaned caringly over the bed, pressing on its mattress lowering release. I dropped down and he trapped his hand under the mechanism. We both screamed in pain. A midget to the nursing staff flew to his side, leaving me yelling, "Never mind him. This is about me." It must run in the family, because years later, as my son rushed into the delivery room, his daughter's head began to appear, and he fainted. Medics found him, offering water and a seat, while his wife was ignored. Until she pointed out in quite a loud voice that she was the star of this show. EPA, the Man City star in action. But aside from the obvious point that the worst example of new man duties is the expectation that he should be there for her at childbirth, the larger point is, Fabian, that you signed up to be in England's World Cup squad and we expect a full commitment. After all, we play Colombia in the last 16 match tonight, and, if the result matches our respective standings in the FIFA rankings, we'll go on to face Sweden or Switzerland in the quarter-final. As bookings and injuries start to mount up, there's never been a better time to have a star such as you available for selection. You said you'd discuss the domestic situation with boss